I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Bitcoin custody and Bitcoin inheritance, because it was mentioned. There's ideals and there's perfection, and then there's the real world. For 4 years now, I've been helping people to understand Bitcoin, to own more Bitcoin, helping them with the technical side of it, helping them to build their own bespoke Bitcoin pension, and helping them to get Bitcoin performance and the volatility of Bitcoin into their existing pensions. So I've real-world experience of Bitcoin and how Bitcoin goes wrong. And a lot of the times, the ideals that people have, they're simply not true. Fair enough, everyone in this room has possibly spent, a minimum of 20 hours, maybe 200 hours. Some people here have spent 1,000 hours or more studying Bitcoin. But every Bitcoiner and future Bitcoiner isn't going to do that and shouldn't have to do that to be able to partake in Bitcoin safely. So how I sort of came about with Peter and him explaining what they do at the Bitcoin Advisor and then becoming part of the team eventually, it bolts on perfectly to my existing business where we take people all the single sig, but then people reach a stage where one, either they have a hardware wallet hidden in their house with a silly amount of wealth on it that they wouldn't be comfortable keeping in cash, okay? Or they have to keep it off-site somewhere, so they have to trust wherever they're storing it doesn't look at their private key, which they can't tell if they do or don't. Or they die, or they just make a mistake, or they get phished. And all these things I've seen happen. Fortunately, never to any of my clients, but because I'm the go-to guy in Ireland, it's my phone that rings, I get the Facebook messages, I get the emails when there's 10,000 lost, 20,000 lost, 700,000 lost was my biggest. So pretty devastational to people. So the solution of multisig can add complexity to your custody. I'll just stick to my slides, actually. Helping you buy and secure and manage your Bitcoin so you can own generational wealth without losing sleep anywhere in the world. Just a background. Peter Dunworth has been managing a multifamily office for 2 decades. And people trust him with 2 billion of assets under management. Collaborative security, asset protection, inheritance planning track record for the last 9 years, and there hasn't been a single Satoshi lost, and we've taken 5 families through unexpected probate. And in any typical situation, because again, I've had these phone calls, my brother at Bitcoin, my husband at Bitcoin, he had a heart attack there last year, is there any way? You can't recover it unless these things are thought of, prepared and set up ahead of time. But with the Bitcoin Advisor, we haven't lost a single Satoshi in 9 years, which is a pretty amazing track record because it's pretty amazing. Andy Patterson is the co-founder. He's 30 years of technology and consulting experience. And the whole Bitcoin Advisor team is 35 strong now. And it's just experts. And it's brilliant for me to be able to lean on their expertise for various things that I might need to help. So instead of just custodying Bitcoin on your own, like some of you people here probably, you're the only Bitcoiner, you can't even orange peel your friends, so you're just here on your own, you've no one to talk about if something goes wrong with your wallet, you're Googling stuff to try and find the information, so you're getting all the spam websites. We help you recover your Bitcoin. It's just like, you got scammed, we're going to scam you again, click this link. But like normal people don't understand that. So by having a team of collective experts on your side to help you with your custody journey. So the mission is just to take Bitcoin off exchanges. So we actually know how much Bitcoin there really is. Like we remember with FTX and the price suppression, that they didn't have all the Bitcoin that they said they had. So the Bitcoin has to come off exchanges, so we really know how much Bitcoin there is and its true value can't be manipulated. So we have to help people to be able to custody their Bitcoin themselves, okay? Without having to trust. Because there's a couple of ways you can custody Bitcoin. You can custody your Bitcoin. Like if I get a client and I know they can't even turn on a computer, never mind log on to a Zoom call, and they're not going to come to me, I'll be like, yeah, there's this app called Revolut, you can get Bitcoin. Bitcoin people here would be like, what the hell are you doing telling people to do that? Well, because that's their only option. They can't do anything else, and that's better than nothing. So my motto is always progress, not perfection. That will get them started. When they see the number go up, they'll get more interested, they start to study. 3 years later, they're a Bitcoin maximalist, they've all the security in place. But you're just trying to give people a solution for where they are. Our service helps you to safeguard your Bitcoin against loss and exchange risk so that you can remove your Bitcoin from exchange. Like let's say someone new starting on Bitcoin, but maybe they have some money and they buy 100 grand. To me, that's a lot of money. And then they have to set up a hardware wallet that they've learned on a YouTube tutorial, and then they're going to custody it. Like, to me, that's insanity. I'd be like, if it was my money or my Bitcoin, I'd be like, I'll take the exchange risk over you because you don't know what you're at. Part of the Bitcoin Advisor service is inheritance planning. When our client is on board, at the very beginning, we don't wait till they ring us up and say, Dinny, I think I'm going to die next year. It's set up when the client onboards the inheritance planning. So it's all done ahead of time, so that the Bitcoin can always be recovered and passed on to the generations. So the goal is for people to grow their Bitcoin holdings because they feel secure in it and they feel well educated to understand what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why owning more Bitcoin is better than owning less Bitcoin. So just a quick FYI on multisig. Single sig, you just have one wallet or one key. And multisig, you can have 3 keys. But the problem with multisig is the individual is still the single point of failure. And there's no perfect solution with this. Like, I think as Bitcoin custody becomes better and better, more solutions, whatever we're doing today, in 5 years' time, we'll look and go, geez, there's loads of flaws in that. So it's going to get better and better and better. But with multisig, it's your responsibility now to mine 2 keys. So instead of just having to mine 1 private key, now you have to mine 2 of them. Okay? So to me, that's double the complexity. And some people love that. Like, a lot of Bitcoin people are very much, I want to control everything. No, I have no hobbies. This is just what I do, and I'm going to put all my time into it. And then other people are just like, yeah, that Bitcoin thing, I'll have some of that, and I want to get on with my life. So they want a simple solution. So they're like, keys, 2 keys, words. What do I do with them? Upgrade. I have to update them and all this stuff. Nah, fuck that. But with multisig, you've 2 keys to mind. And then the multisig provider, the software provider, will have a backup key within it. And for you to move the Bitcoin out of the vault or the wallet you need 2 signatures. So it means you can sort of have a catastrophe with one of them and you're still okay. But you are minding 2, unless you give it to your friend to mind, which some people do. That wouldn't make sense to me. So anyway, how the collaborative multisig works, it's super straightforward. You have responsibility for only 1 key. You only have to look after 1 key. If it becomes lost or stolen or compromised, you can't lose your Bitcoin. So in the instance where I get phone calls and someone's been phished or hacked and have lost all their Bitcoin, and sometimes it's a hell of a lot of money, and their wife or husband doesn't even know they put it into it, and I worry about these. Sometimes I've spent over an hour on calls to people, strangers, because I know this is possibly the worst day in that person's life, and they rang me for the news thinking I could fix the problem, and I've just explained that problem's not fixable. However, with this situation, that can't happen because you have a firewall. You've got to go through an expert to co-sign the transaction. And many times we've had to say to our clients, no, we don't think you should sign that. We want some more information. This sounds like a total scam. And lo and behold, it does be. So you get that protection by putting it through a team of experts to make sure, is this real or is it some sort of a phishing attempt or a phishing scam? And then if you pass away unexpectedly, the inheritance protocol allows your Bitcoin to be recovered by your beneficiaries. So there's no single point of failure. You don't have to trust yourself. You don't have to trust the Bitcoin advisor. The Bitcoin advisor can only sign a transaction. They can't initiate a spend transaction. They can't try and spend your Bitcoin. And depending on the software you use, if it's Unchained or Theia, again, you're the only one with access to the vault, so they can't initiate a spend transaction. They can just okay it or not okay it. And one question is, but can't they just collude? Couldn't the Bitcoin advisor, Peter Dunworth, with 2 billion under management, and let's say Theia, they could collude to steal your 2,000 euros worth of Bitcoin? And the simple answer is it's not possible because the Theia key is baked into the platform. So it can't be used. And only whoever owns the vault has access to it, to the platform. So it takes out the ability for the Bitcoin advisor and the software provider to have collusion. So ultimately, I don't have to trust the software provider. If I'm using Theia, they can blow up and disappear. The Bitcoin advisor has all the information so we can migrate you to a different platform. Could a normal person do that? Of course they couldn't. You don't have to trust yourself, even if you lose your key or you're going through, we see this with separation and assets and things become messy and people can get rug pulled from their own assets. This, again, isn't possible. You're protected. So no matter what happens to you, no matter what happens to the Bitcoin advisor, no matter what happens to the software provider you use, you don't have single point of failure. If anything happens to any of the three entities, you just step back to where most people live, which is in single sig. And obviously, your priority is, we fix this today, and we go back to having that default tolerance built into it. So it's safe generational wealth. Like, Bitcoin is the most important thing in the world, I think. When I'm speaking to people, I'm like, nothing else matters. And that's just because in first principles, it doesn't. Because Bitcoin has its name or figure, I call it 50% capital appreciation per year. By using Bitcoin, storing Bitcoin, saving in Bitcoin, eventually that figure becomes so large that you can't outwork it. And then a company can't outwork it. And then a multinational can't outwork it because it's growing so fast. So once you have peace of mind to own your Bitcoin, you can't lose your Bitcoin, it sort of allows everyone to have self-custody because you're not DIYing it, you're not doing it yourself. Many Bitcoiners struggle to get onto a Zoom call. They struggle to find the like button on my videos sometimes. I'm like, do the daily exercise. Like, I don't know where it is, Dinny. But yet we're telling them they should get a wallet and get their Bitcoin off the exchanges and try and manage all this. We're setting them up for disaster in a lot of senses. Now, many people can do this, but I see it going wrong, and I've seen it going wrong a lot of times over the last 4 years, that online people probably don't realize happens. But it happens a lot. There's a lot of vulnerable people online, and that's why I think this is a perfect solution. It's safe, easy self-custody for experts and for newcomers. We're specialized to service plebs. This is the beauty of it. It can scale to retail. Now, initially it was just for high net worths, but now we've scaled it so anyone can have it. Businesses use it. We've set up businesses on it where you have two business partners and neither partner has to trust each other. None of them can rug pull each other the way it's set up, so it's a beautiful setup. It can be set up for family offices and accountants rather than just trusting your lawyer or your accountant or whatever. Here's my private key. If anything happens to me, make sure you give that to my kids. You have to trust them to do that. With this situation, you don't, because the incentives align. It's a white glove service. You get peace of mind, and there's a clear fee structure. The fee structure is 1% a year. So if Bitcoin capital appreciates at 50%, let's say like last year it went up 50%, well, mine only went up at 49%, but I can't lose it. No matter what I do, I can't screw it up. It's time locked, my Bitcoin. So there's a bit of friction to get at it, but that's the way I like it. That's the way a lot of people want it. They don't want their Bitcoin to be able to be lost. You can't go out for a few pints on a Saturday night and lose your property portfolio because you got drunk, like. You clicked the button or whatever, or you gave some lad a picture or something, but you can do that with your Bitcoin. But you got to I think it's better to set it up in a way that you can't, and there is friction. And as well as that, it also solves the problem for your private key. Where do you keep it? A lot of Bitcoiners keep their private keys in their homes. I think that's insanity. But then what do you do with it? You put it in a safety deposit box. You have to trust them. What happens if that gets seized? Now your Bitcoin's gone. With a collaborative multisig, none of that matters. It takes away all those problems. Sorry, back to the fee structure. My car costs me 2% a year to insure. And it hemorrhages value every year. My Bitcoin costs me 1% a year to insure, and it appreciates in value by 50%. So for me, it's a no-brainer. And I don't mind the fee. I was a customer before I was an advisor because it was a problem that I wanted solved. And then Peter asked me to come on the team. And sort of service Ireland and the UK, but we've advisors all over the world, and we serve all over the world. Now, I'll be floating about all conference. I've been keeping the head down for this morning, trying to get everything done, and yourself, the little problems. But I'll be more open for chatting and having the crack and catching up with everyone. If anyone's interested in what we do at the Bitcoin Advisor, you can take a picture of that and drop me an email at Dinny@thebitcoinadvisor, and we can explain your situation or get you sorted with that. And I think we're going for a bit of lunch now. Thanks everyone for being here and listening to me drone on for a couple of minutes. Dinny out.